all you Golden Eagles. You're listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm your Tuesday, Thursday show host, Skylar Angus Barker. We've got a great show coming up with some information about Dorothy Fraley, describes how she and her sister wore their hair as kids, and Kaylin Fox Thomas reporting on the DEI ban. But don't touch that dial because Jacob Meyers will share some things that you don't want to miss. You're listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mr. Sidney
My name
Beverage.
is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. In USM campus news, Southern Miss Biological Sciences student earns a STEAM Goldwater Scholarship. Joseph Serio, a USM student majoring biological sciences with minors in chemistry and world languages, emphasis on Spanish, is the 29th Southern Miss recipient of the coveted Goldwater Scholarship. The scholarship is one of the oldest and most prestigious scholarships in the natural sciences, engineering, and mathematics in the United States. Joseph Serio has this to say about getting the award. It's truly an honor to be selected as a Goldwater Scholar. I believe this recognition speaks volumes about the quality of guidance my mentors have provided me. This accomplishment would not have been possible without Dr. Bider's generosity and flexibility in helping tackle my first research project, and Dr. Flynn's expertise as I apply biotechnical approaches to investigate neurodegenerative pathologies. Having this recognition will be instrumental as I apply for graduate school in the fall, and this is especially so in consideration of the year's unusually fierce competition. Congratulations, Joseph, and good luck with graduate school. In Hattiesburg news, Laurel School District launches investigation after edibles are discovered in Laurel Middle School. The Laurel School District is investigating after gummy bear edibles were found on the campus of Laurel Middle School. The school research officers are involved in the investigation. The school district stated this in a statement: "The safety and well-being of our students remain our top priority. We urge families to speak with their children about the dangers of consuming unknown substances and the serious consequences of bringing or sharing them at school." Also in Hattiesburg news, Laurel man arrested after high-speed chase in Jones County, charged with multiple drug-related felonies. Joe Evans was arrested by the Jones County Sheriff's Department and is currently facing multiple felony charges. Evans sped away from the traffic stop before eventually making his way to Lone Oak Apartments. He crashed his vehicle and fled on foot, where officers followed him. During the chase, Evans tore open a bag of powdered fentanyl and threw it at an officer. Evans is charged with sale of a controlled substance, trafficking of a controlled substance, aggravated assault on a law officer, felony fleeing in a motor vehicle, and multiple traffic violations. JCSD Narcotics Division Agent Lieutenant Jake Driscoll had this to say: "The arrest of Joe Evans on Tuesday highlights the dangers faced by law enforcement in apprehending illegal narcotics dealers. Joe Evans made the conscious decision to flee a traffic stop and put others in danger during the high-speed pursuit. Plus, he intentionally assaulted a law enforcement officer by throwing powdered fentanyl in his face, causing exposure that could have been deadly. Hopefully, this criminal actions will result in a conviction and hefty jail sentence." In Mississippi news, former MSU football player is to appear in court on simple assault charges. DeMonte Russell, a former MSU football player, is going to appear in court this week to answer to the charge of simple assault. The former defensive lineman allegedly struck Trace Howell, a fellow MSU student, outside Two Brothers Smoked Meats on May 8, 2024. Attorney Jeffrey Reynolds stated this in a letter to municipal court prosecutors Caroline Comer. Trace was left with a grossly swollen jaw and suffered head trauma, requiring the placement of staples in the back of his head. Trace first received help from the first responders before being transported by ambulance to Okibeta Country Hospital, where he underwent tests that showed he had bleeding in 2 areas in his right frontal lobe and 2 bulging discs. In national news, Philadelphia police officer sets aside fear of heights to rescue child from a roof. Officer Eric Robbins was on patrol December 10th when he got a call from neighbors saying that someone's child was walking on the roof of a nearby house. The officer gained entry to the house, charging upstairs to the 2nd floor, where he climbed out of the window and grabbing the child. When rescued, the family were completely shocked and thanked the officer for his dedication to protecting and serving with such compassion. When asked, the officer Eric Robbins stated this about his fear. Instantly overcoming my fear of heights and getting him off the roof. It hit home because it could have been my kid, and I would want someone to do the same. We'll be right back with sports and weather after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277, and the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Now on for your sports. Southern Miss Athletics has some announcements. Your Golden Eagles are back at home this week at Pete Taylor Park to take on Georgia State Panthers. Thursday's game will begin at 6 p.m., Friday's game is set to begin at 6 p.m., and Saturday's finale is set to begin at 1 p.m. Your Southern Miss women's tennis team is back at the Southern Miss Tennis Complex this Saturday at 10 a.m. as they take on ULM. Admission is free. 2025 football season tickets are now on sale to the general public. Guarantee your seat to Mississippi State and Jackson State by purchasing your season tickets today. Season tickets start as low as $99, and we offer fan-friendly payment plans up to 4 months. To keep up with all the Golden Eagles sports activities, head on over to southernmiss.com. Now on for your weather. We're going to have some sunny and breezy weather today with highs in the lower 80s and our lows in the upper 50s. Winds have a chance to gust to 20 miles per hour this afternoon. Friday will be warm and breezy with highs in the mid-80s and lows in the mid-60s. Winds are also looking to be to the south at 10 to 20 miles per hour. There will likely be some mostly cloudy weather on Saturday with highs in the mid-80s and lows in the mid-60s. Easter Sunday is looking to be dry for most of the morning, but we'll have a 40% chance of showers and possible thunderstorms later in the day. Highs are in the mid-80s and lows are in the mid-60s. Up next, we have Dorothy Fraley describing how she and her sister wore their hair as kids. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. A popular hairstyle for the girls in the 1920s and 30s was known as the Buster Brown. Dorothy Fraley of Macon describes how she and her sister wore their hair as children.
My hair was jet black back in those days when I was young. I had what they called a Buster Brown. It was just bangs across the front and straight on each side. My sister, when she grew older and went to college at MSCW, she had real long hair, and it was plaited in 2 plaits in the back, and she wrapped them around her head and anchored them with hairpins or bobby pins, but she had a lot of little curls around her ear that she'd roll and keep rolled with bobby pins so she could fluff them up whenever she was going to town or was going out. And she could really floose her hair up. But permanents had come into their own by then, of course. This was in the early 30s. The first permanent I ever got in my life, I got in Meridian at Griffith's Beauty Salon. It cost $2.50.
Bill Ellison hosts Voices of Our People World War II, a new podcast from Mississippi Moments, sponsored by the Mississippi Humanities Council. That's Voices of Our People World War II, wherever you get your podcasts.
That was Dorothy Fraley. Coming up, we've got a special guest that you don't want to miss.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. We've got a lot of food in this country, so how are 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger? That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids who need it. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in Mississippi, contact Mississippi Food Network or visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Now, please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to Jacob Meyers. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
I'm doing pretty good. So, first and foremost, for anyone who doesn't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So I was born and raised in Mandeville, Louisiana, and for the people who don't know where that is, it's right above New Orleans.
Okay.
But I've always done theater for a good portion of my life. I think 15 years now.
Wow.
Because I am 23. I don't know, you get me on a mic, I really don't know what to talk about. I did run a lot growing up as a kid, because me and my neighbor, Evan Shorts, we'd be just running around playing tag, soccer, basketball. Sometimes we played street football, which we were busted up and scraped up after that. But in high school, I did a lot of running while I was also trying to do theater and work at the same time. But besides that, really enjoying Southern Miss where I'm at right now. I'm glad to be back, coming back for a bachelor's instead of an associate's this time.
I love that. And back then, how did you juggle being able to be part of like the running team and also being part of theater and also working at the same time?
Stress.
Yeah.
Stress is sometimes a good ally, sometimes it's not. It just depends how you maintain and how you push forward in times.
Right.
Because especially before COVID, when I was a junior, I was doing powerlifting, track and field, theater, and work at the same time.
Wow.
And a lot of it, it's just how do you schedule, how do you communicate with one another. Like I had to communicate with my manager, my coaches, and my high school theater teacher at the same time, which I made it work up until COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's so like, I understand that that's like a normal thing for like a lot of actors or a lot of crew members a part of theater, but it sounds so crazy being able to juggle all these things all at once. It sounds like you have to have hands in every single department just to make sure that things are running smoothly.
Yep.
But as you mentioned, I understand that you're a student here at USM. Can you tell us your classification and your major?
Yes, I am currently a sophomore. I'm waiting for some credits to roll over, if they will, to be considered a junior. But besides that, I'm okay with however it works as long as I graduate.
Right, absolutely.
Before I forget, what was the other part of the question?
The major.
The major. I am a theater major currently.
Cool. That's really interesting. I mean, we were able to talk to some members that were a part of like some aspect of theater degree, and it's absolutely amazing that we have more people here that are pursuing this craft, because it's such an interesting and lovely and like it's an emotional craft to be a part of, but like it's so amazing being able to sit down and talk with them. What's your favorite part here at USM?
Whew. trying to think. I do like going to the pain center a lot. It's a lot different than other gyms I've been to because this one actually has a Jacob's ladder and kicks my butt, but I love it.
And for anyone who doesn't know, what exactly is a Jacob's ladder?
The Jacob's ladder, it's the best way to put it is one of those Stairmasters, but you're put it at an elevation and you have to use your hands and your legs to climb it.
Holy cow.
And it measures for how many calories you've burned, the distance you've made with it, how many steps you've taken. Because I know it was pretty viral on Instagram, I think 3 years ago. There was two people battling out on a Jacob's ladder for how many steps can they take more than the other person.
I love that. I love that. I love that so much. The friendly competition is always helps to inspire you.
Yep.
What could USM improve?
I really don't have any gripes or things that I think they need to improve currently because I've only been here for a year and I can't really state anything because I don't know fully enough for what is happening with it.
Right.
I mean, for a joke, I had to use the iSouthern Miss app, which is very good for getting places because at first I was using Google Maps and it was not going to bring me to College Hall at first.
Yeah, anytime that I've tried to look up like anything on like Google Maps or the Apple Maps, trying to look up like any specifics on the USM campus is just impossible.
Yes.
So it's just it's crazy to manage it, it's crazy to juggle it, but I'm glad that USM at least has an attempt to fix that with some sort of app because who knows where we'd be without it.
Right.
So the main event, Sense and Sensibility. I know it's a popular title, but for anyone who doesn't know, can you tell us what that is?
So Sense and Sensibility was written by a woman named Jane Austen way back when.
Yeah.
It was soon adapted in, I believe, 2016 by Kate Hamill, who's also adapted other Jane Austen novels as Pride and Prejudice and Little Women. And Sense and Sensibility, this goes into the story about two young daughters, girls, women, growing up and trying to, I don't want to say settle down, but fall in love with the right people. Because as humans, sometimes we fall in love with the wrong people. Sometimes we fall in love with the right people. It all takes time and patience. And especially during this time, this is whenever people were stopping to just marry for money and they were starting to pursue marrying for love instead.
Yeah.
So this story has a lot about why people are marrying for love more than money instead.
Wow, it's such a powerful message of like learning to love just to love and not loving just because like it's what people tell you to do or loving because like you need to get your financials in a certain predicament. It's love is love, and it's absolutely amazing. When's the next showing of the show?
Sense and Sensibility opens on April 24th at the Theater and Dance Building at 7:30 p.m. The doors will open at 7. It is general admission for tickets. But if you want, I'd buy them online just in case if they sell out quick. Because whenever you get to the door and they're sold out, all you got to do is pray and just pray that nobody shows up to get their ticket because then maybe you can grab it.
Right.
And then we are open the 25th, the 26th, the same time at 7:30 p.m. And then on April 27th, which is Sunday of next week, we open at 2 p.m.
Wow. And for you, this will lead into the next question, but how do you juggle all these shows and be able to also be a student at the same time?
It's pretty difficult, but a lot of it is, of course, scheduling and how they decide to run the program, the rehearsals, the tech, and, of course, classes.
Yeah.
But for me, it's what I try to do is I try to balance out putting all my classes on a Tuesday or Thursday basis or a Monday, Wednesday, and then so that those other days that I'm free, I can do classwork, I can memorize lines, I can memorize like how I have to present something on stage, or for me, because during the summer I'm working in the scene shop of the theater, so a lot of it is how am I going to manage work, going to the school to work, and then going back to work.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And it shows that you already had the practice of it whenever you were doing it for the running team and then theater and then also powerlifting and then also job. It's a lot. It's so many plates to carry at the same time. But it shows that you're skilled to be able to do that because like theater is a very like demanding art form.
You have to be very adaptable.
Yeah, you have to
Not
to be
just
able
in
to
acting.
mold. Yeah.
Like in every position of theater, you have to adapt on the spot because if a director or production team member say like, hey, this isn't going to happen, it's what's the next best option that's going to work with us currently.
Well, to go into that question that I was talking about, I understand that you're a cast member in the show. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I am currently playing 2 roles in the show, John Willoughby and Anne Steele. For people who don't know, John Willoughby is one of the love interests for one of the girls. I'm not going to say too much because I want y'all to come see it.
Of course,
I can't
of
spoil too
course.
much. But for Anne Steele, I am one of the sisters who shows up frequently on stage, more of during the middle of the show. And both of the characters I really love. Like, this is my first time playing a female on stage, and it's different the way I have to present this because the director, he told me that we are people playing people. We're not playing clowns. So this girl I got cast as, I can't just throw what I think. It's how do I present this as a person going through something? And same for Willoughby. How do I present this as a person going through something?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like theater isn't just like stereotypes or any like things like that. It's like actually like breathing and living as this character as your own. And it's amazing. And with these 2 roles that you're playing, without spoiling anything, because of course we want to make sure that people will actually come to the show and not look at this as like a Spark Notes.
Yes.
But can you give us like a deeper look into the work that you do for the show?
For this, we started rehearsing in the week after spring break.
Yeah.
But we got our scripts back in January after the cast list was announced, and a lot of it is just memorization. We have to memorize because our director, he believes after you block a scene, you should have it memorized. So you throw your script away, you can call line if you need, but especially during Tech Week, we don't call line because what is said is what is shown on stage for people to see.
Right.
But for me, especially, it's always I have to plan out what I'm doing, and I always have to plan ahead to be ahead of the audience, because if the audience gets ahead of a show, that's curtains. That's just how it works, because if you let audience members get ahead of what's going to happen, you don't get the laugh, you don't get the dramatic effect, it kind of loses the spark. So it's how do you stay ahead? How do you provide for this? Because especially for me, playing 2 different characters, I have to plan in my head, how am I speaking? Because for Willoughby, I have to speak in a richer tone. I don't want to say deeper, but rich, eat my words, like flavor. And then for Anne, I will spoil just a little bit.
Okay.
How do you like Devon Sheemus Dashwood? I suppose you're very sorry.
I love that.
I have to speak fast, but I have to over-articulate so I'm not mumbling my words.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just preparation plan, because rehearsals, of course, people think we get to have fun, but we are working in that time, and it's whenever the show opens, you have to be 100% ready, or 110 at that point.
I love that. I love that so much. I know I could go all day on just saying, like, with the presentation that you already gave, to being able to, like, I love it. I love it. And I know that students you have to come see it. If you don't know anything like about the show or anything about these characters, at least come to see that. I mean, that's amazing.
Not only that, but it's like you will get something out of this show, whether you think it or not, because I have met people who are like, I don't like theater, musical theater, stage plays, anything. But at the end of the day, they get something out of the show if they listen attentively and they focus in on what is happening around these people. Right. Because for me, whenever I see a show, I try and empathize for characters or sympathize. It just depends. But sometimes I'll see a character on stage and I'm like, I relate to that a lot. Yeah. I felt like this in that position. And you start to feel, and it can be a funny moment or it can be very sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what type of advice do you have for people looking to join theater, whether as part of the cast or as part of the crew?
Take the chance, email any professor, or if you know friends in the theater department, email them, talk to them. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to just get yourself out there. That's how I started theater. I was willing to take a risk. I was willing to take a chance. And especially coming back to school, I had, the nicest way to say it is I had a safe job, but I wanted to take the risk again. I wanted to not just be back on stage, but be in a theater environment. So all I can say is don't be afraid to take the chance. People are going to back you up.
I love that. I love that. And I know that we're running out of time for the show, but is there anything else you want to share with our listeners?
Like I said, don't be afraid to reach out in any matter, not just theater, but if you're struggling, reach out to somebody, talk. Tell somebody you love them today also. Yeah. That's the one thing I will wish everybody does who's listening in.
I love that. I love that. Such a powerful message to end on. Well, thank you so much, Jacob Meyers, for coming on today and providing a voice for our Eagles.
Thank you.
Coming up, we've got Kaylin Fox Thomas reporting on the DEI ban. Check it out.
Mississippi legislators have approved of a DEI ban for all public K-12 schools and universities like Southern Miss. Students of USM's NAACP and Afro-American Student Organization came together to hold the In Their Shoes protest march against the DEI ban on April 11th.
So we started this because we wanted to make a change on campus. We wanted them to know that we're not going to let them steamroll us. We're not going to conform to assimilation or anything like that. There's not really that much representation of us out at USM, and we want incoming students to know that we are here and we are fighting.
Dr. Andrew Wiest, a longtime history professor here at USM, shares his uncertainty about how this bill, if passed, could affect him.
To be frank, I don't know how it will impact me personally. Just from an outside reading of it, it looks really restrictive on what I could teach. You know, the history of women, that's in there. The history of civil rights, that's certainly in there. It's part of what happened, and I'm supposed to teach what happened.
This bill leaves many students worried about their education and future here at Southern Miss. Kaylin Fox-Thomas, SMTV.
Thanks for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Huge thanks to Seth Hodges, our audio engineer, and Meadow Smith, our video engineer, for keeping this bird flying. Big shout out to our assistant producer, Sam Romeo, and our program director, Adeline Fields, as well as our executive producer, Jorge Ide, and our GM, Dr. Wilbur Martin. Don't forget to follow SMG Media on social media. I'm your Tuesday, Thursday show host, Skylar Angus Barker. Stay golden, Eagles.